You know, you never need to think that you've somehow made a mistake or that you're somewhere where you don't need to be or you shouldn't be. Because that in itself is the lesson. That in itself is the teaching. That you're exactly where you're supposed to be, no matter what it is that's going on around you or what's going on inside of you. Because it's all just trying to teach you how to most properly express yourself. Because when you embrace the proper way to express yourself, the most beneficial, healthy way to express yourself, you automatically raise your vibration. You automatically release denser, more physical energies and elevate into a lighter sense of self, a lighter sense of being. And that in turn affects the entire field of consciousness everywhere, simultaneously. You make that change in yourself, you affect the entire universe in a way. You are the universe, and the universe is you. And the world will literally change before your eyes as soon as you embrace those internal shifts. And embrace what you're feeling, embrace where you are and what you're doing and what you're being asked to do. Embracing and understanding that the circumstances in your life are in no way, shape, or form a mistake. They are asking you to embody something. They're asking you to express something that maybe you didn't dare express in the past. And so it becomes uncomfortable to hold on to these energies when they're naturally trying to come out of you. And we say, well, I'll wait until my circumstances are better before I start being myself. I'll wait till things change before I start being grateful or start opening up, you know. And the thing is that your circumstances don't change until you start opening up. Your things don't become more fortuitous and harmonious in your life until you start being more grateful and embodying that, not necessarily straining to put on a forced smile, you know, when you're in pain. No, it's nothing unnatural about it, because you embrace the pain. And sometimes the lesson is just that you don't have to run from what you feel. It can be painful, it can be uncomfortable, it can be unfulfilling, it can be scary. I mean, you can substitute your own adjective in there. It can be any one of these things. And yet there is still a harmonious unfolding, encapsulating and enveloping everything that you're doing and everything that you're feeling. There is no possibility for you to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, because everything is in accordance with what you have come to learn. Everything is in accordance with the unfolding of your life. And it can only unfold in its best, most, I guess, in its most fragrant sense of itself. The flower of life is going to bloom. Whether it takes 1 season or 2 seasons or 3 seasons, it's going to happen, though, because everything in the entire world is geared not only to your own fulfillment and not only to your own growth, but to the growth of all things everywhere. So of course it's going to be something that it's not localized to only you. It's going to move into and be expressed in all things everywhere. Because it encompasses so much more than it encompasses so much more than what you can imagine from a place of mistrust or a place of fear or any kind of those kind of, maybe, I don't know if they're lower vibrations or they're, but they're just kind of, I don't know what they are. Lower vibrations, just kind of a more limited way of looking at life, and intuition is not that. It's not limited. it's unlimited, you know? Because the more you listen to it, the more open you become. And the more things change and harmonize. And the more, and it's just one of those things, like, don't believe what people tell you. You know, confirm it for yourself in your own intuitive response, in your own opening to life. If something rings true, let it ring true there, in the heart of your being, the intuitive heart of your being. To open up and to really just listen. You know, it's, you know, because what inevitably happens with, you know, when we're in our minds too much, we're in our heads too much, you know, what is our mind always doing when we're giving it too much attention? It's always talking. It's always chattering. It's always going on about something. And so, what is it that really, when we really get into a more intuitive state of being, or just an intuitive acknowledgement of our being, what is it that we find ourselves doing? Rather than talking, chattering, we find ourselves listening. We find ourselves feeling. You know, and that's more the difference between the intuitive response and the kind of overly mental response. Because the intuitive response is more, it's a listening, it's a feeling, it's a imbibing, it's an allowing. You know, it's like it speaks without speaking. You know, it's just something you know. It's just something you feel. It's more immediate than thought, oftentimes. So it's like you really don't need to go into your head so much. And it offers you things that, you know, you really can't create through your own effort alone. You know, it's like something larger than your physical self. And by tapping into that intuition inside of you, you then participate in that larger thing, that larger being, that larger unfolding. A larger intuition, even. You know, like animals use their instincts, and maybe their instincts are a form of intuition. And maybe our intuition is a form of instinct. You know, because they're very similar in some basic fundamental ways. And an animal knows when it's time to move with the herd and to fly with the flock and to migrate and to interact with the world in a natural, harmonious way that supports the life of that animal and also the life of its kin and its family and its kindred. And so animals know, because they don't resist the process. They don't resist the merging with the larger power, the larger being, the larger forces. You know, they willingly enter into those forces. And it's as if they don't even have the capacity to imagine themselves outside of those forces. It's like they are just, the bird is just the wind itself. As far as the bird is concerned, the wind is blowing, and it's there to support the bird. And so the bird has no qualms with the wind. You know, why fight with the tree upon which you build your nest? Why complain about the wind that supports your flight? So in the same way, why complain about the intuition that's healing you and opening you up to life? Why complain about these cosmic forces, both earthly and celestial, both angelic and seemingly mundane? Why complain about these forces? Why argue against these forces? Why try and put your foot down in the path of all of this stuff, you know? And so in that way, when we allow ourselves to move in rhythm with life, and we don't fight with our own body and any more than we fight with the elements of nature. We don't fight with ourselves any more than we fight with the people in our lives. We don't fight with who we naturally are any more than we fight with the circumstances of our lives. And so things unfold very harmoniously, and what we take to be problems from a certain point of view inevitably begin to resolve themselves and clean themselves up. And not only because things just miraculously happen without our participation. I mean, sometimes they do happen that way, but more often than not, it's because we then are guided intuitively to take what we call inspired action. Inspired action, it's just a very spontaneous unfolding that arises from within us and allows us to move in a way that gives us a greater sense of freedom. It gives us a greater sense of fulfillment. It gives us a deeper satisfaction and affirms our inherent connection to all things alive in all reaches of the universe, not just in our local area, but in places beyond this world even. Because when you affirm your connection to just one facet of it, just one little piece of this great harmonic unfolding, this great play of life, you affirm your connection to all things everywhere in that same breath, that same moment. And so, I really am at a loss for words at this point, because it's just something that you experiencing it. We're always experiencing it. It's to be is to be, it's to be the whole thing. It's to be all of it. To be one little piece of it is to be the whole thing. And that's what's so amazing about this whole life, about this structure of this existence, is that it's so intricately interconnected. It's so intricately interconnected that it's literally seamless at its foundation. Because every little thing that can be woven together and then unwrapped, that can be put together and taken apart, is still seamlessly connected at a quantum level, and at a metaphysical level, and at a spiritual level, at an energetic level. Once those bonds are established, they're forever there. So everything has always been connected. Right from the very beginning of any kind of physical reality, everything, no matter whether it lives or dies, or what forms it takes, or what forms that it loses, it's all intricately, seamlessly, eternally connected. It's always together as one. And it is supremely miraculous, supremely joyous. just to even contemplate or to speak these words, it is just such a beautiful, beautiful unfolding, a beautiful understanding.